they're waiting for us inside an autonomous bus, electric as well. And Vice President, when you're ready, I invite you to open the bus and meet your first three.
So let's test it. Let's try how it works. It opens.
Voilà,
so
it opens. So, Vice President.
Hello. Hi. Young ladies. Hi,
this is Bo from Belgium.
You are from?
Belgium.
Belgium. Very nice to meet you.
Jess from England.
Jess from England.
Dana from Denmark.
Dana from Denmark. And your first name was?
Bo.
Bo.
Okay. Behind you is Augustin. He's working for Navia and he's helping making sure that nothing goes wrong.
He's not a driver, as you noticed.
Yeah. There's no driver.
Yeah, he's not a driver.
There's no driver. So I invite you to have your seat, Vice President.
Yeah. Thanks.
And Bo, do you want to close the door?
This one?
Yeah.
Try this one. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's good we managed to catch our cameraman inside. Okay, very good. And now, as you can see, we have here on the screen, we can make it start. Maybe Nana? I know that you love autonomous cars. You feel very safe right now. So, Augustin, what does she need to press? Just the go?
Just the button go.
Let's do the go.
And we go.
And it's moving. Or is it moving? No?
Yeah,
it's moving.
It's moving.
There's no driver, but it's moving. Okay, so Vice President, you invited these first three. We'll have three others from other countries to come and talk to you. So maybe before we hear from them, you can tell us, why did you invite these activists to meet you?
At first, I'm very impressed that already in your age, you are so actively involved in tackling climate change. I also have 3 children, but the girls are bigger. They're 28, 26, but my son is 19, and he's telling me, of course, how important this is for your generation because of all the changes which are taking place on our planet, especially all the extinct animals, where we see the numbers increasing every year. And I'm very much impressed by what you do. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit what we do in Europe, in European Union, how much we want that this new technology would emerge here in Europe, because I think that we are really leading the way as a continent to fight climate change, and simply we know that we have to underpin it by the new technologies and active young people like you, so I'm very happy
Vice
that
President,
you came.
I'm sure you will tell us a lot about what Europe is doing. Maybe before we can start hearing from these kids, teenagers, ladies, what it is
young
that
ladies,
they're doing.
young ladies. The young ladies.
So, Bo, you are the youngest in this group. Your age is 13.
That's right.
We have our first stop. Okay. So that's the first stop, and then the doors will close. Augustin, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's going to close by itself?
Yeah, obviously, yes.
Obviously, yes. Okay, and we continue in our ride. So far, so good. So, but you're 13, and your mother told me earlier that you were marching all the way from home near Ghent to Brussels, and that you spoke in front of 75,000 people about climate.
Yes.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about this activity and why it means so much to you.
Actually, we walked with 70 youngsters from Ghent to Brussels in October last year.
It's 50 kilometers for those who don't know the geography of Belgium.
Yeah, it's more than 50.
More than 50.
It's 72, I guess, because we took like smaller routes on calmer ways, because where there's more green, because it's kind of more fun. And there we demanded politicians to take climate action, but the problem was that there was almost elections, and the politicians talked more about the coming elections than something else like climate change.
But why does it mean so much to you? Why this topic among everything else?
It's my future and that of all the other youngsters in this world, and I don't want to live in as the last generation, as they say, where we can see...
We have another stop, Augustin?
Yeah, here.
Okay,
yeah.
And then we're going to continue back without stops?
Yeah, without stops.
Okay, cool.
And I don't want to be the last generation of this world, of humans, because it's possibly that it will happen.
That's a strong message. And then maybe, Jesse, you were yesterday in the big rally in London, and you even met with the founder of this movement with Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
I always feel like I must be pronouncing her name wrong. So what was it like with all these people in London?
It was amazing. It was really inspiring to see not only my generation, but older generations there too, because I think there is the potential for people to stereotype older people into not caring and to kind of, just giving up. But I was with the Extinction Rebellion at Marble Arch, and there was such a great atmosphere. It just felt so warm, and like everyone there truly cared, and it was
Wow.
inspiring. Yeah.
Let me just take a technical break because I don't have an earpiece. Are we good? The sound is okay? Everybody can hear us? Everything is fine? Good. I hear that it's okay. Okay. Nana, you are from Denmark.
Yes.
We also chatted on the past few days.
Yeah.
And actually, I was going to tease you a little bit because I admit that when I was your age, I wasn't trying to save the world. I was busy with my own little things, and you guys seem very much more inspirational and ideological. But to be honest, taking one day a week off school doesn't sound so bad. So, but I know that you're also in your personal life, you're very active. You're not just cutting from school. You're doing a lot of different things about sustainability. You told me about fashion. You told me about different industries. So other than putting pressure on politicians, what is your message to young people that they need to do about sustainability?
We need to change our lifestyle.
There's a biker in our way, excuse me. Ah la la, but the car stopped. And it's even honking at the poor biker who's waving at us. So not only we don't need a driver to drive, we don't need a driver to honk. Everything is happening by
Everything
itself.
is happening by itself.
You
Yes.
feel pretty safe. No, you were nervous about this. How do you
Yeah.
feel now? We didn't hit the biker.
No.
We're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, what do you do about sustainability?
Well,
Now we have a passenger. That's our colleague Ivo who's getting. Oh. Sorry, they keep interrupting you. Huh?
so I think it's important that people change their lifestyle because that's also a thing that we have to do to prevent these climate changes.
So what do you mean by changing lifestyle? What do they need to do?
That could be eating less meat, not necessarily becoming a vegan or vegetarian, but eating less meat and therefore
Sorry, this is our last
consume
stop, and
less.
then.
Now we will go back. We can do another two.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop maybe each time.
Okay.
Okay, or we do. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do
Sorry.
it.
Okay,
So
so
you're talking about less meat.
yeah,
Tell me about fashion.
fashion. Well, I think it's important to buy clothes secondhand because secondhand clothes, it didn't just get produced. And clothing is having 80% of its pollution during production. So yeah, that's also a lot. And we use tons of water and chemicals, so it's also unhealthy for our bodies because if we are humid, our pores are open, and therefore we will also get chemicals into our body.
So I heard yesterday a sentence you would like, that the most sustainable clothes are the ones you already have. There's
Yeah.
nothing more sustainable than that. And I also started to learn how to knit recently, so I discovered there's wool which is bio and ecological and not. So I'm starting to understand that there's a whole industry behind it we need to think about.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I also think is very important to make, especially young people who are interested in fashion, do is starting to upcycle their clothes. So taking some
Say
old
it again,
clothes,
to upcycle.
Yeah.
Not to recycle, but to upcycle.
both.
What does that mean?
Upcycle is taking an old piece of cloth and making it something new. So it could be your grandmother's dress and you would make a skirt or something from that. And this is also a very cool way to make yourself express the person you are, because you'll have to present something that's you
Okay.
and it's your style.
So I'll turn back to
Personality.
the Vice President. Obviously, we're doing here a demonstration. These are not real stops. We're trying to show what this looks like in a city where this car would work. But I'd like to turn back to Vice President. We could have had this discussion in the studio inside, as we did last time when we invited young people. You invited young people. And this time, you had the idea of having it in this very funny setting. We're lucky with the weather also. Not the easiest technical operation, I can tell you. But why did you want to do it inside of a car?
No, at first, I'm really proud of our technical team that we can do this live broadcast from a moving autonomous electric
This is
bus.
E-Wollywood.
That's
E-Wollywood.
Bollywood, exactly. And second, I am always very much impressed by the positive energy of our young generation, that you are so committed and you really bring that message so clearly, so strongly to the middle and elder generation.
Why in a car?
And why in a car? Because part of my responsibilities was not only to make sure that we would implement the Paris Agreement, which is so far the most important agreement in fighting the climate change. And in implementation, you discover that today the major polluters is still the transport, and especially in the cities where we feel it not only as a, I would say, the contribution to the more and more of CO2 in atmosphere, but also as a pollution which is really very hazardous for our health. So the solution like this one, I found that it's a typical European one because it's clean, it's sophisticated, and I'm very proud that this invention came from Europe, started to spread its wing in Europe, and now
And supported by the EU.
supported by the European taxpayers' money, which
Yeah.
I'm very proud of. And I think that this is just a demonstration that Europe really can lead in many ways on tackling the climate change, not only by policies and laws, but by such a practical solution like this bus, which I think would be the ideal for all those who want to use public transport, especially for the first and the last mile. And I know that Nana was a bit afraid how all this would go without
How
a
do you
driver.
feel now?
You see that it's safe, and I'm sure if we would leave you alone in like 35 seconds, you will be on your mobile doing the stuff you usually do, because this is what you do in regular bus or tram, or when you are driven in the car. So here it's possible you feel that it's safe, and I think we can have a good feeling that it's clean.
It's clean
we
because
can
it's
transport.
electric.
And already with these buses, there was more than 300,000 people transported. So it's not just the invention from the lab, but it really works in public transportation. And I hope that very soon all European cities, and not only the European one, would use this type of transportation. And I'm very glad that thanks to the Navia company, we are kind of pioneers and we can offer this solution to many cities across the world.
So if you allow me just to add that Navia is one of the companies in the Project Avenue, which the EU almost entirely gave most of the funding, and that these buses are already being deployed in different cities around Europe. And Nana, you will be very happy to hear that they're coming to Copenhagen soon, in 2 months. I hope you're enjoying this experience now here, because soon they're coming to your town as part of the Project Avenue
that's
or
far
Avenue
away.
Path.
Let's make a deal that when the first bus of this type will come to Copenhagen, that we would invite Nana as very experienced passenger.
If you pay
because
my
she already had the first ride on this bus, and it would be nice to have you again. You know,
Yes.
you can try and compare it. How was it in Brussels and how is it in Copenhagen with all the cyclists around?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, as the Vice
That's the
President
deal.
said,
That's the
this is
deal,
not a
okay?
laboratory idea. This is being deployed. Here we're just doing it for demonstration, but it's coming
Yeah.
soon to where you live.
Interesting.
Let me just remind also the viewers that we're not only having this conversation among ourselves, we are also listening, and I'm with my tablet. And I also asked you guys, you have your phones. They're not just being sociopaths with their phones.
No, no.
This time they have special permission. Please look at your phone so that if you have interesting comments that we see coming in, you can tell us. We had an interesting question, for example, from Marjolaine Moreau, and she's asking the Vice President, what are you doing so that these people, these teenagers have a future? So I think you basically just answered us.
Yes,
This
I
is part of
think,
your portfolio.
I think really, I mean, the all 5 years I was now working in Juncker's Commission. I think we've been really doing our utmost to make sure that not only the Paris Agreement is signed, but that we would actually implement it. And I think that we as Europeans have been absolutely instrumental in making sure that climate change is really on the top of the international political agenda. And I know that for our young friends here, it's important that it not be only the politics, but it will practically implement it, so you can see it in your city, you can see it on the European roads, and that you would also see how we are trying to help developing countries, for example in Africa, because they suffer the most from the climate change, that they would learn from our mistakes and not to go through that same fossil path as we did over the last 200 years, and go for cleaner solution which already exist, and we are in one of them.
So I suggest that we soon are going to go and pick up the next 3. So I'm giving you now the time until we go back, if there are any other messages. I know that you were planning a song, no? Wasn't there an idea to sing a song, or you gave up on it?
We gave up on it.
No.
Yeah,
You were practicing
sadly.
outside in the sun. One of you is going to do your song. Nobody's going to do the song?
No.
Okay, in that case, I want to ask you.
Unfortunately not.
You asked me not to call you a climate leader, but a climate activist. And it was very important for you. And I saw these young ladies negotiate, because the visuals for promoting were already ready. And she said, no, you would not call me a leader. You'll call me an activist. Tell me why. How are you guys organized? What is the organization? So maybe we should say Fridays for Future is the organizations that the 2 of you or the 3 of you are part of, and that's a striking once a week, and you
Yeah.
are each part of it in your countries, and you told me you're not a leader. So what does that mean?
Well, I got a bit furious because,
Curious is the word you used.
yeah, I was,
We did change it, huh? You convinced me, we changed it, we did not call you leader, but now tell
yeah,
me why.
but but I was. So I was very worried because we don't want to be called leaders, or we don't want to seem as self-proclaimed leaders just because we're here and we got picked to have this conversation with the vice president.
But you were giving interviews all day. I mean, I saw you on your phone. You're being called by Danish television and radio shows and telling everyone that you're here to meet with the vice president. That sounds pretty leader to me.
I'm not the only one having tasks like this in my movement, and that's also important.
And if I may ask, how many young people are in your movement in Denmark?
I think we are around 60 that has a position where we are talking to the press and things like that. And it's only because we find this as a very big opportunity for us that we made a press release and we got to talk to the press, because now we have the chance to talk about climate with you. And you are also one of the most powerful men in the European Commission.
Thank you.
So that's a big chance.
Okay. So on our way back, when we arrive back, Augustin will make sure that you can get off and we get the next three. So this is still your chance. Yeah. You want to add something, Jessie?
Yeah, I think I was just going to say the important thing is that it's not an organization, it's more a movement. And Greta was speaking about this yesterday in London, that we all have roles in ourselves. You know, we're all representatives in a way, because we are all striking and we're all taking action. And although she is sort of the pioneer, if you like, she was saying she doesn't like to be seen as a leader, just like we didn't like to be seen as leaders, because...
No, and I was pushing you, and I know I made you angry, and I was pushing you because I think it's very interesting and very rare, an organization that is so flat, and where you actually, most people want to be considered leaders, but you don't. And that I found was very unique in your organization. So that's why I asked you this question.
Yeah.
Bo, do you want to say a last word, maybe your message to other teenagers who are watching us in other parts of Europe? Because you're not only talking here with the Vice President, you're talking with our audiences, and the Commission Facebook account has 1 million viewers, 1 million followers.
Yeah.
So some people are watching us now. You can look to the camera and tell them what you want from them.
Well, what I would like to ask to people is not just sit and watch things happen. I would like them to change something themselves, come on the street and try to change something by yourself, because you're never too small to change something. That's
a good message.
Yeah.
So let me bring in another question to you, Vice President. I'm not sure if I understand exactly who is behind Link Cowork and Business, and they're asking, how do you combat the environmental damage related to the extraction of lithium for the production of electric car batteries? I know that batteries are a topic that are close to your heart. We're an electric car, and it also has some negative impact. So what can we do about batteries?
Of course, I think the first thing is that we have to be able to produce something what I call green European batteries. And of course, the first prerequisite is that we have to have sustainable materials. We want to use the sustainable lithium, sustainable cobalt, meaning that once they're extracted, we would respect, of course, the nature, and we would do it in a very environmentally intelligent way. And then, of course, we want that batteries, after they are used, they would be fully reused and fully recycled, because this is how we make sure that we do it in an environmentally friendly way. And I would like to thank Nana just for one thing, and that would be that you learn, or you taught me a new word, and this is upcycle, that I think we should all use, not only for textile, but for all the products, not only to recycle them, but maybe we can upcycle them. And I really would like to thank you for coming over here and being such a natural communicator.
We're not saying goodbye to the viewers.
This is what Europe needs, to have natural communicators like you to speak plainly and so clearly.
So we're going to invite the next three participants of this conversation, and we're going to say thank you and goodbye to Nana from Denmark and Jessie from the UK and Bo from Belgium. And we will see you afterwards for a picture.
Yeah.
Okay? So enjoy the sun.
Excellent. So Nana, overcome the fear from pilotless driving. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jessica. Thank you.
Okay, and our next three passengers can come on. We have Mark from Ireland.
Mark from Ireland. Very nice to meet you. And you are from, where are you from in Ireland?
Wexford.
Wexford.
So Southern Ireland.
Southern Ireland.
Okay, have your seat.
Jessica, I'm from Budapest, Hungary.
From Hungary. Very nice to meet you.
Where's
Nice
the
to meet you. You are my neighbor.
I am.
Met Ketters.
You are Met from
The Netherlands.
The
Very nice to
Netherlands.
meet you.
Have your seat. Don't forget to close the door behind you. You can press the button, Matt. Yeah, let's see what happens. Well done.
That is surprising.
Okay. So I don't know if you managed to watch us while you were outside there. You did? You heard the conversation?
Yes.
Okay, well, sorry, but you need to
Do you
speak
still
to the
have-
microphone.
Do you still have
otherwise we
questions,
will not
or
hear
have you raised everything already?
No, I still have questions, but you're here also to speak your own minds. I know that you've asked your
course.
communities what they think,
Yeah.
but actually I'd like to start with you
Cool.
and ask you how to pronounce your name.
It's
Because-
Chinska.
Chinska.
Chinska. Yeah.
Chinska.
Chinska?
Maybe. Yeah.
Ah, this time I did get it right.
Yeah. You did it
Okay.
right this time.
So you have an interesting story. You come from Hungary,
I do.
and you're part of an organization that is trying to raise awareness among young people in the 4 Visigoth countries: Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic, and Slovakia,
Yes,
the country
indeed.
where the vice president also comes from.
Neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we just heard that young people care so much about climate. So why is your organization so necessary?
Our organization is actually unique because it's the first youth-led initiative that tries to encompass all Visegrad countries in an organization that brings young people together to work on the UN Sustainable Development Goals on Agenda 2030. We have country groups in every Visegrad country, so Slovakia, Poland, Czech Republic,
How
Hungary.
many do you have in each country, if I may ask?
We are still in the growing phase, so I think it's like maximum 10 in every country. But in Hungary, as we started from Hungary, we're quite a bit more. So what we are doing is we're organizing forums. We're actually starting from the grassroots personal initiatives up to the advocacy political level. So we're trying to get this hybrid approach of youth engagement and try to get them to be advocates, to just do like whatever they imagine for their future. I mean, in
Sit
CE
in autonomous
countries.
cars and speak with vice president.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you communicate in English among yourself?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
Yeah.
Because
And-
Hungarian is quite different than the other 3 languages, no?
Well, it is,
Yeah.
but some of us speak the 3 other languages as well.
Oh.
So yes, so that's what we're trying to do, and we for SDG has already had 2 forums, one in Budapest and one in Prague. Now we're having one in Warsaw in Poland in May. So we're kind of really exciting to see what happens with Agenda 2030.
And if you invite people to the forum, do you invite young people or do you invite...
both
both? Yeah.
academia, professionals, ministerial people, everyone that we can and want to include, and we want everyone to be engaged with
I
this
see.
with this
Okay.
approach, really.
Let's pass on to Matt. We're still having stops here on the way. Yeah, for you it's new. We got used to it. Meanwhile, we've been doing it for a few minutes, but you just joined us. So Matt, you're from the Netherlands.
Yes, I'm
You're
from the
also
Netherlands.
part of Fridays for Future.
Yes.
And you told me you're among the very first who
Yes.
brought it to the Netherlands.
Yes.
So what was it like to set it up in a new country following
Yes,
Greta, or it was independent
Yes,
and parallel? Or how
Greta
did
was the first striker, and in the Netherlands, I think we were the second country where strikers were. And in September 2018, we sat before the Dutch Parliament to ask the government for a more ambitious climate policy. And yes, we started with I think 10 people, and in March we were tens of thousands of strikers to ask the same thing, more action about climate policy. And yeah, it was so impressive. It was so nice to see so many young people who with the same we see the same problem. We see Earth that's destroying, and we need to decrease the emissions of greenhouse gases.
Are you connected among the different branches of Fridays for Future around Europe or around the world? Or you work independently in each country?
I wasn't. I was not in the organization of the Netherlands Fridays for Future, etc. But I was one of the first strikers, and I had many friends and other people in my organization. I was from Pink Politics. It's a Dutch political young organization from a political party, and we were searching for a lot of people who wants to strike with us. And
so your message is to people in the Netherlands to join you?
yeah, to join me, to join everything
Your
in the
peers?
climate strikers.
Okay.
Yeah.
To join you as well? To
Every
join,
one of us,
to join
yeah.
everyone.
Please.
Okay. We're getting lots and lots of reactions on Facebook, so please keep them coming. I'm trying to allow you first. You came all the way to Brussels, so I think it's fair to let you go first, and then hopefully we'll have time to bring also questions to the Vice President. But
Yeah.
maybe first, Mark, so you came from
Yeah.
Ireland. You're slightly,
A long way from Ireland, yeah.
no, I was going to say slightly older than the first few. Maybe a fun fact, Vice President, the average age of the participants today is 17, but I have bad news. With us two, it goes up to 24.
That's, I know that here I'm
So-
the guilty one, you know.
I don't know when was the last time you had a conversation with people around the table who are the average age is 17, but I feel like the level of the conversation is
Oh,
actually
but in
very
heart,
high.
I feel forever young, so
So that's very
It's
good.
amazing.
So you're slightly older than you're 20,
A little bit.
Two?
20.
20.
20, yes.
Okay, compared to the 13-year-old Bo.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
I suppose.
I'm mentioning your age because you already brought it to slightly professional level. So I think it's interesting that we heard from teenagers who are striking from high school, but maybe you can tell us about professional choices also when it comes to making climate part of your conviction.
Yeah, I'd love to. I suppose I'm in a kind of a unique position to state that I'm a member of the national executive of one of the largest youth political organisations in Ireland. So on the national executive, from members from different regional councils from around Ireland, we would formulate policies and ideas that we'd have the privilege to bring directly to ministers that we work with on a daily basis around Ireland, especially coming around to elections and stuff like
I
that.
see. So now they listen, yeah.
Oh, they're all listening now, yeah. So
You're talking
We're-
about European elections?
all elections, local, generals will be coming up now. European is the most recent. Yeah, the European elections will be the next big ones with the locals. But yeah, we are privileged enough to be able to bring our policies directly to government. So we will be formulating like some youth manifestos, as well as even individuals in the organisation bringing ideas directly to government. So that's kind of what I'm involved in, and I think it's just. It's
And
really
do you
interesting
study now, or do you work?
I am studying second year marketing in Dublin. Yeah, Mark for marketing. Yeah,
Mark for marketing.
exactly. It's kind of an easy way to remember it, I suppose.
Is it also connected to your environmental activities, or it's just the first stage of marketing?
From my
Maybe how do you make
What are
marketing?
your plans for the future?
How do you
know?
make marketing sustainable and part of this debate?
Yeah.
I think it's the likes of these kind of events that we get to talk directly to the politicians as young people from around Europe. It's not just an individual organisation. It's not just a select group of people. We're all young people from organisations, different organisations, backgrounds, age groups, as you said at the start. And I think it's a great opportunity to be able to display to the public that we can all put our ideas together and present them to the likes of you, which gives great hope for people who want to make a difference and want to attend the likes of the Fridays for Future events from around Europe. So it's again, we need more of this. So
Let's do more of this, Vice President.
I agree.
And
You
on
know,
this note, I wanna-
it's the best fun I had.
We're not
since-
suffering. Huh? I mean, I admit that this is an important conversation, but
Absolutely.
we're having fun. There's an interesting question coming from someone called Leonie Shidek, and she's asking what we are doing about CO2 emissions, especially caused by transportation and especially by flying. And that reminded me of a debate that I had with you.
Give it.
Chinchka, yeah. So if Nana, who was here earlier, was negotiating hard that we don't call her a leader, but you were negotiating hard. You said, "Thank you, European Commission, for inviting me and paying for my flight. But why don't you also pay for my
Carbon offsetting.
Offsetting. So
I have to admit, I tried it 2 times
you tried what?
to have our carbon emissions compensated for these flights.
Yeah.
Because we have to admit, we are talking about climate change here, and it's not a negligible issue.
Yeah.
We all know how air transport contributes to global greenhouse emissions, and I think that the European Commission or even the EU, or on some kind of level, we should have an initiative in which maybe air transport, which is really frequent among
Okay.
politicians. So we are being
So
flown
that's-
here to Brussels to talk about climate change. It would be a really good choice if we would have either carbon compensation, any kind of, maybe planting trees. How
At some
about?
point, we're discussing bringing you here by train so that you don't fly from
Yeah,
Budapest.
I would. I
But
would
let's
have
have the
been
Vice President tell us
actually happy to
what do you
come here
think
by
about
train.
this offsetting of
Well, I
carbon
have
footprint for flights.
I have a good news for our participants, because your air miles are already offset. Because if it comes
Are
to
they?
the intra-European flights, so they're part of
Don't stop now.
the EU carbon emission trading system. So for each flight, the airline, when they sell you the tickets, they have to buy the carbon CO2 allowances, so it would offset.
For themselves, you mean?
No. I mean, it's not for themselves. They have to buy it, and they have to pay to those countries which are selling the allowances. So usually it's of course the state where the company is headquartered, and they have to use it for the environmental reasons, as we do with emission allowances from, for example, the electricity or energy producers companies and so on and so forth. So intra-European flights are covered by this emission trading scheme. But you're right.
Make you happy,
we need to push it. We need to push it to the. We need to push it to the global level, because if you fly to United States or if you fly to China or outside of Europe, then it's very difficult to bring other major economies to participate in the schemes. And this is what we are pushing through the International Aviation Organization and so on. And it would be global standard.
So we're going to conclude soon, but I think if there's one good news from this conversation, and I see you're eager to add the last word, but is the fact that flights inside of Europe are covered. I think you paid with your own money to offset it.
I have not been informed about this.
But we just heard that at least intra-European flights, thanks to the European ETS, is already. So if you paid for your offset, you were adding a bit extra.
Okay, I'm as
so
always.
You are flying in a carbon negative way. So
yeah. I'm suspicious about that, to be honest. But
no, I'm kidding.
We can always agree on always doing more than we are doing right now.
You're right.
And as we were talking about elections, just let me mention that we are ahead of European parliamentary elections.
Thank you for saying that.
And
we are ahead of European elections.
We have movements of Greta Thunberg and teenage climate activists cannot vote yet, but for those who can vote and for those young adults and young professionals,
Can we
please,
the door for a sense?
Please vote for someone who is engaged with climate action, and please vote for someone who is representing us and the green movements across Europe, because this is a very important milestone in our lives. And also I would want to
very briefly, because
very briefly.
I'm being told to cut off. So very briefly, what you want to say.
Please don't just strike. Strikes are very good for many reasons, but please engage. Pursue a career professionally in climate action, environmental science, green tech, green finance. There's so many exciting things to do, and I want every young person to really consider seriously to pursue a career in any of these fields.
I sign up to that.
Yeah.
So go to the streets as well, but please do your thing. And
Vice President, you want to say a last word about what the EU is doing in general about transport? We had lots of questions about.
Yeah.
And maybe before you conclude, I mean, there was a question also about the deployment, so I can maybe add to just answer one more question that came in, that this is already being deployed, this particular technology in 4 European cities. If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be Copenhagen, Geneva, Lyon, and Luxembourg, and 3 more are to follow. So this is not just a show in front of the European Commission's building, it's happening. But now I pass it.
Just two more facts, that more than 350,000 people have been already driven in this bus, and we see it as an ideal solution for first and the last mile, and we hope that this European invention, how to contribute to the clean transport solution, will be then used worldwide. And I'm very proud that this is a European project supported by the also European taxpayers and showing the European way forward. But to really conclude, I would like to thank our young people for being so active, being so vocal, and also I totally agree with the last message which was heard from our young lady and colleague in fighting the climate change from Hungary, because it's very important, as you said, not only to strike, but also to be very active, to come and vote for the people who are very responsible towards our future. So thank you very much for coming.
So with that note, I'd like to also...
Thanks for listening to us, by the way. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, really.
So let me thank now a lot of people, our amazing technical team in the Commission who pulled it off, and Navia who came with a car, and you, Vice President, who participated and invited these very inspiring 6 activists, and you, viewers on both YouTube and Facebook, if you were also inspired by some of the things that these activists or the Vice President were saying, don't be shy. You can share this video, you can spread it, you can comment, and make this message heard. I invite you now to go in front of the car. We're going to take a quick selfie with the Vice President, the 6 of us. And with that, I wish our viewers goodbye. So please follow our cameraman, and we can go. I think, watch out, there's a cable. Ooh. Yeah, you can go on. Augustin, if you want, you're free to join us. So Jesse volunteered to do the selfie for us.
So